G'day, year 8. How are you going? Today we are looking at histograms and frequency polygons. So a histogram, okay, sounds like antihistamines that you take when you've got hay fever, like I do the start of spring. Now, a histogram is like a frequency graph. It's similar to a column graph, but the key thing is there are certain conventions that are really important when we're drawing histograms. So it's a way of representing the frequency of different categories. We're looking at numerical categories here, and we want to make sure that we're obeying the specific rules. So just like when you're learning to draw graphs for the first time, and there are certain rules about that, we need to be careful about how we draw our histograms. Okay, so here we have a data set in a table that shows the temperature of each day and how often the max temperature was. So we've got temperature and we've got frequency. The first thing we've got to do is draw a histogram. Okay, now when drawing a histogram, there's certain three things that we need to remember. So the first column sits half a column width away from the vertical axis. The columns have no gaps between them in a histogram, and the frequency is always on the vertical axis. Okay, so we've got a little histogram ready to go, or the axis set up. We've got temperature on the bottom, frequency on the vertical. The first column is going to be half a column width, away from the axis, and it just goes up to 1, okay, because 17 on our table just has a frequency of 1. So we're going to start up here and then go down like that. And you can see there's half a column width. We've sort of got a whole grid space as a column. We've got half a column width there that we've left as a gap. And then the next one is 18, which goes to 2, and it's going to start from the same. We can just start our rectangle using the top corner of the one next to it. So we're not leaving any gaps between our columns. Okay, next one goes up to 4 for 19. So we can just continue that there. We go across to halfway and then down, no gaps between our columns. Then 20 goes all the way up to 7. And again, you would use a ruler for all of this, okay, making sure it's nice and neat. 21 goes to 6, so we can just go across from there and then down. And then 22 is also 6, so we can just continue that there. And then 23 goes to 4. So across and down like that. So we've sort of got this Manhattan kind of thing with these columns with no gaps between the columns there. Okay, so that is our frequency histogram. It's very important that we obey those rules. The second thing we have to do is we've got to approximate the share value halfway through the. That seems to be a bit of a mistake there. What we need to do is we're also going to draw a frequency polygon. Okay. So a polygon is a shape that has multiple sides. And what a polygon is, it's basically you're doing a line graph over the top of the columns that you've done. Now the first line starts at the bottom corner of our axis, and then it moves to the middle of each of these columns here. Okay, so if we draw a dot at all of these spots, our frequency polygon is going to go through all these dots. And then the line ends half a column width right of the last column. So just here is where the last point goes in our polygon. So then with a ruler, we would then go dot to the middle of each of these. Oops, let me redo that last line. To the middle of each of these columns like this. Okay. And down straight like that. So that is our frequency polygon. We've just gone dot to dot of all these to the middle of these columns. So what we can sort of do is have a histogram with the frequency polygon on top, okay? And it sort of shows both of those things there. All right, so remember these key details. First column of the histogram is half column width away from the vertical axis. The columns have no gaps, and the frequency is always on the vertical axis with a histogram. When drawing a frequency polygon, okay, the line starts at the corner of the axis, so half a column width away from the first column, and then it moves to the center of each column, and then comes down half a column width away on the right. Okay. All right. Good luck with the work today, and I'll catch you later.